Thank you. 13 years, David? I've been waiting a long time for this day, too. Trust me. First and foremost, Mr. and Mrs. Careless. Where are we at? There we are. Mr. and Mrs. Zapparito. Last night, today has been wonderful. So thank you. I think I speak on behalf of everyone in this room. Thank you for hosting us on what is the most inevitable wedding in the history of matrimony. I'd like to address something very quickly before I offer a toast. But I'm going to need everyone's participation. For those of you that were at the ceremony earlier today, when Bob was up at the altar with Dana finally making this official, who here, by a show of hands, thought to themselves, wow, are those two groomsmen twin brothers? You can be honest, you can be honest. Well, I don't even know you in the back. Well, that's upsetting. Well, let me set the record straight once and for all. Kevin Huckle and I are not twin brothers. In fact, Kevin Huckle and I look nothing alike. I'm much more handsome, I'm much more skinny, and I'll show you about an hour or so that I'm 10 times the dancer he'll ever be. I'm also single, so. Bobby and I know each other for a little while now. We actually play Little League sports with one another, age 10, 11, 12 years old. We were actually on the same team as 12-year-olds, and it's funny because my mother would always have that, she has a wallet-sized photo of that team picture at all times. Cassie, do you have that picture tonight? You do? Do you have it? No, there she is. She's in the back. You can just hold it up right there, Mom. Yeah, it's right there. Oh, it's not wallet-sized anymore.
Hold it up.
If you get a good look at that by the end of the night, there's two things you should see. Bob is freakishly tall. He's about 6 inches taller than everyone else on that photo. And his ears look like he could almost fly off the picture. So if you can get a look at it by the end of the night, it'll behoove you. Anyhow, Bob ended up going to this rinky-dink high school close to Cheltenham. I ended up going to a high school with a long history of tradition. We lost contact for a couple years, but then the year before we headed our freshman year at Temple, we reconnected. The first night down at Temple, we headed to a party. We ended up meeting 3 guys. The 5 of us became best friends. We were inseparable for the next 4 years. We ended up meeting a very special group of friends along the way, and we had the best 4 years of our lives. But during our time at Temple, that's when I really learned a lot about Bob Careless. So I'm going to share with you the 5 things that everyone should know about Bob Careless right now. Number 1, Bob Careless is human like all of us. He has his phobias. It's just a little weird that number 1 on that list happens to be penguins. He's creeped out by them, how they look, how they waddle, how they can almost momentarily lift themselves in the air. Number 2, Bob Careless has rhythm. Deep down inside, Bob's a dancer, and there's not a song out there that makes him move more than Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody. Bob Careless is a goal setter. Way before his time at Temple, he said to himself, I want to go to law school, I want to become a lawyer. He's accomplished both before the age of 28. And yeah, of course, yeah. It's funny because Bob has found himself in a perfect career. There's countless times in college when I can think back where, let's call them heated discussions broke out involving sports. Bob would come in, he'd argue everyone into a complete circle, manipulate everyone into thinking what he said was correct, walk out of the room and leave everyone thinking, what the hell just happened? Bob has a flair for the dramatics. Among many of the courses we took together at Temple, one happened to be an acting for non-majors course. And Bob was typecast through the whole semester as this forlorn boyfriend, lost for love, yearning for the girl that happened to be hours and hours away. And I'll never forget it. He had his monologue assignment, and in front of about 25 to 30 students, he sat at a table, picked up a framed photo of he and Dana, looked at it longingly and said, I miss you. Right there, I thought all the street cred and all the reputation we built, the social community at Temple was out the window. It was all gone. And finally, the last thing everyone should know about Bob Careless, and what I consider the most admirable trait of anyone, any human being, is Bob Careless is the most humble guy you will ever meet. When we went out to Vegas for Bob's bachelor party in Dana, this is where the stories will stop. They'll start and stop, so don't worry. We were at dinner the first night, and I happened to say to the people I was sitting with, there's not a guy out there who better deflects the spotlight than Bob Careless. So forgive me, buddy, I'm going to put you in the spotlight just for a couple seconds here. Talk about a guy who's worked relentlessly for anything he's achieved in his professional life. Not only does he have 2 degrees from the most elite university in all of the state of Pennsylvania, Temple University. One of them happens to be a law degree. He's now licensed to practice law in both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Bob is the son of 2 absolutely wonderful people in Mr. and Mrs. Careless. He's the brother of a young, beautiful woman in Megan. And Megan, I can't say it enough that he's completely ecstatic. In less than a year, he'll be doing exactly what he's doing today, and that's marrying your best friend. He's now the new son in a second family that is equally as wonderful as his own. But there's always been that one thing about Bob Careless that his humility just couldn't mask. And that's his beautiful bride, Dana Saporino. Who has stood next to him for the last 13 years and now will stand next to him for the rest of his life. So if everyone would please raise a glass to Dana and Bobby. Here's to a marriage filled with many years of love, laughter, and happiness. Congratulations, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, bring a round of applause for our best man, Mr. Brian Beecher. This time, ladies and gentlemen, is going to please remain seated as your entrees are being served.